boys and girls, we have Unit 6, Lesson 21, Combining Like Terms, Part 2. So number 1, Noah says that 9x minus 2x plus 4x is equivalent to 3x because the subtraction sign tells us to subtract everything that comes after 9x. Elena says that 9x minus 2x plus 4x is equivalent to 11x because the subtraction only applies to 2x. Do you agree with either of them? Explain your reasoning. So the first thing I'm going to do is try to figure this out on my own. So I have 9x minus 2x plus 4x. I'm going to change everything to addition, so it just makes it easier, and I can just add in any order. So I have 9x plus a negative 2x, which would give me 7x, and then plus 4x. So 7 plus 4 is 11, so that would give me 11x. So I agree with Elena. Because it is equivalent to 11x. And there's where I solved it. 2. Identify the error in generating an expression equivalent to 4 plus 2x minus a half times 10 minus 4x. Then correct the error. Okay, so I know I need to multiply a negative half times 10, a negative half times a negative 4. Negative a half times 10 is negative 5, which is what they have here. A negative a half times a negative 4x would make it a positive 2x. Okay, so that all works there. And then the next row, well, I don't understand why they changed it to subtraction. Having it all addition would make it easier to solve. So here, this is the mistake. So to correct that, when I have 4 plus 2x plus a negative 5 plus 2x, okay, I could put all my like terms together. So I'm going to put the 4 and negative 5 together, and the 2x, and 2x together. So 4 plus negative 5 is negative 1. 2x plus 2x is a 4x. So my solution would be negative 1 plus 4x. So when they did this, somehow it canceled out the 2x's there. 3. Select all the expressions that are equivalent to 5x minus 15 minus 20x plus 10. Okay, so I'm going to rewrite this. Before I even look over here, I'm going to rewrite this all to addition. And I'm also going to go ahead and write it in simplest terms because I can see that I might have some simplest terms over here. So I'm going to put my x's together, 5x plus a negative 20x plus a negative 15 plus 10. Okay, so 5x plus a negative 20x is negative 15x, and plus a negative 15 plus 10 would give me a negative 5. So negative 15x plus a negative 5. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and look at my choices. So I have 5x minus 15 plus 20x plus 10. This is going to make this a negative 15 and a negative 20. Which is what I have in my original expression. So A would be equivalent. B has changed it to addition, where it has been negative 15 plus a negative 20x plus 10, which is what I have here. So B would also be equivalent. This one I'm multiplying by 5 times x, 5 times negative 3, times negative 4x, and 5 times a positive 2. So C, I'm going to do that work down here. 5 times x is 5x. 5 times the negative 3 is negative 15. 5 times the negative 4x is negative 20x. And 5 times the positive 2 is positive 10. Well, that all matches. So C would be equivalent. Okay, D, we have a negative 5 times the negative x plus 3 plus 4x plus negative 2. So I'm going to go ahead and distribute this negative 5 through everything in parentheses. So a negative times a negative makes a positive, so that would just be 5x. Negative 5 times a positive 3 would give me negative 15. Negative 5 times a positive 4x would give me a negative 20x. And negative 5 times a negative 2 would give me a positive 10. Well, again, that matches the original. So that would work also. That would be equivalent. Okay, here we have negative 15x minus 5. Well, that's the same as what I found here. If I took away that addition sign, this is also equal to negative 15x minus 5. It is the same expression. Well, so far, everything's matching. Let's check F here. F has negative 5 times 3x plus 1. So negative 5 times 3x would give me negative 15x, and negative 5 times a positive 1 would give me a minus 5. Well, that's the same as the previous one. So all the expressions are equivalent to that. Well, that's cool. All right. Number 4, the school marching band has a budget of up to $750 to cover 15 uniforms and competition fees that total $300. How much can they spend for one uniform? Write an inequality to represent the situation. So we have our total of 300, but that's just the competition fees. I don't need the total. School marching band has a budget. Okay, so their budget would be the total of up to $750. So not exceeding that, but it could also equal that. So 750 would have to be less than or equal to that amount. I know I have competition fees that total $300, so I know I got to add $300. And 15 uniforms. I don't know how much the uniforms cost, so I'm going to represent that with X. So this would be 15 times whatever their cost is, plus that $300 has to be less than or equal to $750 or $750. Solve the inequality and describe what it means in the situation. So 15x plus 300 has to be less than or equal to 750. Okay, so we talked about changing that to an equal sign and solving. So I'd subtract 300 from both sides of my equation. That would cancel. 15x equals 0, 5, 7 minus 3 is 4. And then I'm going to take 15, divide it on both sides. So x would equal 30. So this is the most they can spend for a uniform. So x would have to be less than or equal to that $30. So describe what it means. At most, they can spend $30 per uniform. Okay, 5. Solve the inequality that represents each story, then interpret what the solution means in the story. So for every $9 that Elena earns, she gives X dollars to charity. This happens 7 times this month. Elena wants to be sure she keeps at least $42 from this month's earnings. So she wrote this inequality. So 7 times 9 minus X is greater than or equal to 42. So when I solve this, I could change this to an equal sign. Solve just like an equation. So I could divide both sides by 7. So this would end up with 9 minus X equals 7 goes into 42 6 times. And then I'm subtracting 9 from each side. Oh, I'm out of space. So that's going to leave me with negative X equals 6 minus 9 is negative 3. I got to change this to a positive, so X would equal 3. But that's not a solution to inequality, so X would have to be greater than or equal to 3. Oh wait, that's not going to work. Less than or equal to 3. Has to be less than or equal to 3. So what does that mean? That's the dollar she gives to charity. So she can give $3 or less to the charity. B, Lynn buys a candle that is 9 inches tall and burns down X inches per minute. She wants to let the candle burn for 7 minutes until it is less than 6 inches tall. Here's our inequality. So 9 minus 7x equals 6, so I'm going to solve it. Subtract 9 from both sides. Negative 7x equals 6 minus 9 is negative 3. Divide both sides by negative 7. X would equal 3/7. So x is going to have to be greater than or equal to, or sorry, greater than 3/7 for our solution here, for it to be less than 6. So what does that mean? It means that the candle needs to burn more than 3/7 inches per minute. Okay, 6. A certain shade of blue paint is made by mixing 1.5 quarts of blue paint with 5 quarts of white paint. If you need a total of 16.25 gallons of the shade of blue paint, how much of each color should you mix? So the first thing I notice is I have quarts and I have gallons. So I need to change them all to the same unit. For every 1 gallon, there are 4 quarts. So I'm going to take 16.25 times 4. So 16.25 times 4 gives me 65. So there's 65 quarts here for my total. I'm going to make my table. So I have blue, white, and a total. So blue paint is 1.5, white is 5. My total is, oops, I don't know because I need to add those together, but I'm trying to get a total of 65 quarts. So 1.5 plus 5 is 6.5. So to get from 6.5 to 65, I could go the other way and take 65 divided by 6.5. This should be easy to see. Times 10. So I'm taking everything times 10. So 5 times 10 is 50, and 1.5 times 10 is 15. So we need 15 blue and 50 white. Okay, please let me know if you have any questions.